Another World Cup has come and gone, and Shaka Hislop and I are just not ready to let go. So we are counting down some of our best of the World Cup. We've got player, keeper, moment, goal, coach. Shaka, I'm going to give you mine first. We don't know what each other has chosen, and then we're going to give a little explanation. So best player for me, Luka Modric. I mean, that is kind of self-explanatory. The man, just with all the criticisms that he went through going back home, not the most loved man, surprisingly, back in Croatia, but he absolutely rallied a team that doesn't have the glitz and glams as some of the other teams do to make it to a World Cup final and possibly lose, you know, or lose possibly to the best team that we saw. I'm going with Modric.
All right. I didn't have Modric, though I do understand the choice.
Who do you have?
I went with N'Golo Kante.
Oh.
Players like Modric grab all the headlines, and understandably so, and given his performances, rightly so. Players like N'Golo Kante are the kinds of players that World Cup winning teams are built on. I think you get a better appreciation for N'Golo Kante when you're on the park next to him. As good as we think he is, looking in from our vantage point, I think if you're standing on that pitch, you appreciate him even more. Kante, player of the tournament for me.
He didn't really have the best final, but it's okay. He is a.
He had a stomach bug. He wasn't well. He wasn't well.
I'm going with my boy Modric. Best.
Hold on, he wasn't much better either, by the way. Wait, hold on. He wasn't much better in the final either.
Okay, Shaka, we are moving on.
Right.
Best keeper now. I know that this one, of course, Shaka holds high because he's probably the best keeper I've met. But I'm going to go with Thibaut Courtois. We just spoke about him a little bit ago in our transfer rater, and he did a world of good for his rank at the World Cup. So, has to go for him.
I'll agree with you here. I thought Courtois was a standout performer all tournament long. Honorable mention goes to Subasic, beaten in the final, of course. But Courtois, outstanding from the first minute to the last in that third and fourth place game.
Now, here's where things get interesting. The best moment, because this is, you know, very subjective. And I've already gotten some flack for mine, believe it or not. But I'm going to go with Panama's first goal at their first ever World Cup against England. Sure, they were trailing 6-0 when they scored. Sure, it was a nasty game on their part and how they treated the England players. But what do you expect? This is a World Cup. If you can't beat them, which they realized, you know, 6-0 down, then go for it. But it was such a moment. You saw what it meant to the Panamanian fans. I know what it feels like because Jamaica lost our first match against Croatia. But when Robbie Earle scored that goal back in '98, you couldn't tell me that we didn't win it.
I understand your pick. I don't understand the flack you're getting for it. Trinidad and Tobago.
You're mainly from England fans.
Well, of course. Trinidad and Tobago didn't even score a goal in 2006, so I understand why it meant as much to Panama as it did. At the same time, though, I went for Akinfeev saving the final penalty against Spain. Iago Aspas with his foot. The reaction of the players, Akinfeev's face, the reaction from the crowd. That was to see a Russia team who I keep having to remind myself were the lowest ranked host coming into this tournament, upset Spain at this tournament in that manner, and you see what it meant to them. That is what will always make the World Cup special for me. Saying that, as was yours, these are the moments. It's not necessarily the title-winning goals or last-minute free kicks by Ronaldo, which also deserves an honorable mention. Sometimes it's these little indescribables that make these tournaments as special as they are.
Yes, Felipe Baloy will definitely go down in Panamanian history for sure. Best goal now. Gosh, did we not have to choose from a lot. But I'm going to go with this one, Shaka. Benjamin Pavard with that goal that just defied physics. I was watching over goals and goals and goals, and just seeing that one from the angle at the back, I just had to say, put him down. This 22-year-old, special kid, special goal, and I don't think he's forgetting that one, or we are anytime soon.
I had to think about that one, but I went with Dries Mertens against Panama. Just as a skill, in terms of pure execution, I thought Dries Mertens was the best goal of the tournament. I think it doesn't get as much credit as it should because it was in the early stage of the tournament and it was against Panama. But just in terms of a pure strike, Mertens gets the nod for me.
And finally, best coach. Now here's where hopefully I've made up, you know, for all my England fans. But I'm going with Gareth Southgate. Believe it or not, one, I'm a massive fan of the waistcoat, Shaka Hislop. And two, when last has anybody felt positive about England? I don't even think English people felt positive about England apart from in this World Cup. And I think what he's done deserves more than a little pat on the back. I know I'll get flack for this as well, but Gareth Southgate, I would do the chant, but
I
don't wanna hear
thought
him sing.
there was only two names on this list. Dalic
Yes,
and
I knew
Deschamps.
it. Okay.
The two.
That was the
How do you
obvious
take
pick,
it?
Shaka. That's
Wait,
the obvious pick.
are we going for obvious or just out of left field
These are
Gareth
our
Southgate?
opinions. I love me some Gareth Southgate.
No, he did a good job, but best coach of the World Cup?
In
Best
my
coach of the
opinion,
World Cup?
I didn't want to go for the two obvious picks, Shaka.
Why
so
not?
That's why I went.
Why
for
not?
Because it's two obvious picks. You say the two best coaches are the two coaches that got their team the furthest, which are obviously there. So
These were the two obvious picks?
Shaka.
This was an obvious pick?
No, it wasn't, because you know you could.
It was an obvious pick. We both picked Courtois, he wins the goal. It was
You
obvious.
could have said Lloris if you didn't have that howler.
And that made this the obvious.
All right, Shaka Hislop.
How do you get
Okay, Shaka, you
Southgate?
win. Thanks so much to Shaka.
won
for
the
giving
World
us these
Cup.
picks. We'd love to hear
Dallas
your
to
guys'
Croatia
thoughts to get in
to the
contact with us.
final. Croatia.
But make sure for everything recap.
Because he wore
we're not going to stop
a
anytime.
waistcoat.
Here at
A waistcoat.